Baird, the General Manager of Missoula Community Access Television, inviting you to another edition of our series, Your Missoula. Today we're going to visit with Molly Stockdale. She is the Executive Director of Travelers Rest. Thanks, Molly, for being on the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Joel.
You're most welcome. Well, we've agreed we're going to focus
Yes.
on an overview of Travelers Rest for the neophyte viewer.
Right.
Who may not know, Travelers Rest where? Is that one of those, they're only 40 miles apart. I wish there were more of them. So Travelers Rest, what it is, what it does, and then specifically on the McLean exhibit that's available there and the winter storytelling that you're offering each Saturday through the winter.
Great.
So the first idea, and Scott's going to show the website to help us along, and that's travelersrest.org.
That's right, travelersrest.org.
So what do y'all do?
So the short version is Travelers Rest State Park encompasses the only archaeologically verified campsite of the Lewis and Clark expedition.
Right.
It is also an important cultural site for the Salish and Kellis Bay people, and it's a state park. So we have about 65 acres of habitat along Lolo Creek in Lolo.
Oh, yeah. And just imagine someone's watching and they're like, what's Lewis and Clark?
Okay, so way back in 1803, President Thomas Jefferson had a secretary named Meriwether Lewis, and he asked Lewis to lead an expedition to explore some new territory that the United States government had purchased from the French. Meriwether Lewis asked his army buddy, William Clark, to come along on the expedition. And they, accompanied by about 33 other people, traveled from, Lewis actually started off in my hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh, whoa. Shout out.
Yeah, there you go. But the expedition traveled all the way from there to, he met up with Clark in St. Louis and across to the Pacific Ocean. They camped at Travelers Rest twice, once in September of 1805 on their way west, and then again in June and July of 1806. And so they were a group of amazingly intrepid explorers, a diverse group of people with lots of different skills and backgrounds, including Sacagawea, of course, the only woman on the expedition, who did the whole trip carrying a baby on her back. Right. So, it's a great story about a group of people who were interested in encountering new people, new places, new plants and animals, and recording those, reporting back to Thomas Jefferson in D.C.
And this Travelers Rest is where the name comes from, right? Because they were the travelers that rested there.
That's correct.
And it's determined that they really were there, as now we're talking about, 223 years ago.
Yes, exactly right. So the Travelers Rest State Park is the only place where we found archaeological evidence of the campsite. Yeah. A lot of folks who know Lewis and Clark or know the story know that they wrote journals. They kept really good records of their trip, but they didn't leave very much behind because, of course, everything that they brought with them was valuable in one way or another. Yeah. I think because Travelers Rest is a place where they camped twice, there was more of an opportunity for them to leave something behind. But even Fort Clatsop, where they spent the winter on the Oregon coast, there's no trace of it now. And I think that's partially due to climate, because the damp there is not going to be very kind over 200 years, right, to wooden buildings. But also I think that a lot of what they would have left behind there was then reused by the tribes in the area. So, nice building. I'm going to take it apart and go build something else with it.
Yeah, no kidding. I would if I saw this unique, unusual stuff there.
Yeah.
So the Travelers Rest is a component of the Lewis and Clark Expedition Memorial or history place. And you also have a lot of stuff going on because, as you mentioned at the beginning, that place became very important to the various indigenous tribes in the area.
That's right. So we tell three basic stories at Travelers Rest. We tell the story of Lewis and Clark. We try to tell the story of the indigenous people that lived there. So Lolo, Montana, was in the homeland of the Bitterroot Salish, and it was a place that was also utilized by the Kellis Bay or Pend Oreille people, and the Nez Perce or Nimiipuu people. So lots of different tribes traveled through there, and we always say that Lewis and Clark didn't arrive at Travelers Rest by accident, right? They were following ancient indigenous trails.
Yeah.
They were led by a Shoshone guide, and from Travelers Rest, they stopped there, they rested there, they gathered their strength, because from that spot in Lolo, they were doing the most difficult part of the journey, which was traversing the Bitterroot Mountains.
Interesting.
Into Idaho and then on Oregon.
Yeah. So the point is they were following a native network. It wasn't like they were brandishing machetes in an unknown land and doing all this stuff. It was almost, if you will, a kind of collaboration.
Right. And whenever they did manage to get off of those ancient indigenous roadways, that's when they got into the most trouble. I mean, Lost Trail is called that for a reason, right? Because they lost the trail.
Right. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? So people know where it is. I want the people watching also to have opportunity to visit. Now the website's going to give them directions, and we could say, go down 93 to the intersection of Highway 12.
Correct.
Is that steakhouse still up the road there?
It is. Hang a right. And the entrance to the park is right across the street from Lolo Creek Steakhouse.
Yeah. Right to the left if you're heading towards Idaho on 12.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly
and
right.
it's worth it. There's another point. So years ago, I think I came down to you like 7, now going on 8. And we did when we need to do that again.
Right, we did a walkthrough.
A walkthrough of the joint. You could show off your new office.
I don't know if anybody wants to see my office.
Probably not. We'll look at our memorabilia on the wall here. It's not too neat. And also in this episode of Your Missoula, we want to focus on, for instance, the McLean exhibit. You want to say something about that?
Absolutely.
And Scott's going to show pictures from the website.
Okay. So the Visitor Center at Travelers Rest State Park, we have some permanent exhibits about those 3 stories that I was talking about: Lewis and Clark, Indigenous history, and the natural history of the area. We also have a great room where we do a lot of temporary or traveling exhibits. And this year we are thrilled to have an exhibit called The Art of the Angle. And it is illustrations from the pennyroyal edition of A River Runs Through It, from John McLean's book Home Waters, and from the 100th year anniversary edition of Ernest Hemingway's Big Two-Hearted River. So these are all really beloved stories about fishing, and the exhibit is all of the illustrations. They're all tiny. I mean, they are the size that they appear in the book. So they're
you got to be there to see.
Yes, you got to get up close with them, and we're thrilled to have this beautiful artwork there, and also to continue a connection with John McLean. His book Home Waters has a chapter in it about the Blackfoot River and Meriwether Lewis's journey from Travelers Rest north through Missoula and up the Blackfoot River. And so that's how we first got connected to John. And this exhibit is the McLean Family Illustration Collection. We're also really thrilled because alongside the artwork, we have a few artifacts that the McLean family had loaned to the Montana Historical Society, and they have in turn loaned to us. So we have the Reverend McLean's fly rod, and we have Norma McLean's fishing shirt, and some flies that were tied by one of their family friends, George Kroonenberg. So it's a really special exhibit.
Especially for anglers and angling enthusiasts, I think it would be quite a find.
Absolutely.
And people don't think of Hemingway as much as they used to in the 20th century, for instance. And they don't think of his ties to the Northwest and Idaho in particular.
Absolutely.
They just think of him in Spain or Cuba or Florida Keys or something.
Right. And while the story Big Two-Hearted River is actually set in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, John McLean wrote a beautiful foreword to this edition of the book. And he had done a lot of research at one of the Hemingway libraries in Ketchum, Idaho. So there is a real connection. The other nice thing about this is that we bringing this exhibit from where it lives usually in Virginia to Montana. It will go on tour. So from Travelers Rest, it will travel to the Charlie Russell Museum in Great Falls and on to a couple of other museums through the Montana Art Gallery Directors Association.
Oh, see, it's so worth visiting. And in addition, another thing Scott's going to show the viewer at home is from our YouTube channel, and that's the winter storytelling series, and that's through middle of March or so.
That's right. So every Saturday at 11 between, we started January 3rd through March 14th, we will have different speakers. We started with John McClain online on Zoom, and that was great. You can see the recording of that done through a media resource grant.
YouTube channel. And I'm going to say, do put in John McClain because we have a number of visits that he made. Some years ago, our videographer Ron Scholl recorded him next to the Blackfoot River.
Yes.
It's a really nice clip as well.
Yes, and we actually have part of that video playing in the exhibit area right now.
Cool.
So, it's a great partnership between MCAT and Travelers Rest and John McClain.
And I see in the storytelling series, Tim Ryan is coming up if he hasn't presented already.
Yes. So we typically, I usually say we invite diverse group of authors, elders, historians, and naturalists to do talks.
Right.
And this year, we have a little special focus, I guess, on fishing because of the exhibit.
Yeah.
So John talked a bit about fishing the Blackfoot River. On January 24th, we'll have Austin Haney, and he's going to be talking about Anglers Undaunted. So fishing on the Lewis and Clark expedition.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And then on Valentine's Day, actually, Tim Ryan from the Salish Kootenai College is going to be down, and he's going to be talking about indigenous fishing techniques.
Yeah, I love that picture that has like a kind of, they look like snowshoes to me, like the way maybe to carry or prepare the fish. But I like that picture of Tim.
Yeah, there are some, Tim has in the past come out and worked with youth at Travelers Rest State Park and showed them how fish traps or fishing weirs were constructed. Exactly, and it's really interesting. Some of the other folks, we have Lucy Vanderberg next week talking about traditional Salish stories, and Bruce Bugby is going to be talking about his book Saving the Big Sky, which is a beautiful like coffee table sized book with gorgeous photography.
Bruce Bugby, because he's a Missoula figure often associated like with open space and stuff.
Exactly, and so this book is all about how public lands have been conserved in Montana and how important that is to our folks. So, and then we'll be working with the Montana Black Collective in Missoula on February 7th. Sophia Ettier is going to be talking about Black history of the Bitterroot. Oh,
that's great. So, that's going to be fascinating.
For sure.
Because it is Black History Month, right? February.
Exactly. And then as we head into March, we're going to have Dan Hall, who did the original archaeology at Travelers Rest, and Ramona Holt, our neighbor across the street, is going to be talking about 25 years of Travelers Rest because 2026 is our 25th birthday.
Congratulations. Oh, that's exciting. Wonderful. So I'll bet you plan something too. Maybe you'll come back to talk about the 25th anniversary.
I would love to do that.
Well, anything else you want to add?
Just that storytelling is open to everybody. It's also available on Zoom. If you come out to the park, we always have coffee and treats.
Right.
Admission is $5 a person, but it's free if you're a member of Travelers Rest Connection.
Another thing you can see on the website, travelersrest.org.
Exactly right. And we'd love to have folks come out and see us.
Great. Well, Molly, thanks so much.
Thank you.
And thank you, dear viewer, for taking the time to learn more about Travelers Rest. You can learn more at their website, travelersrest.org. As always, if you know of a group and you'd like to see them on this program, give us a look at mcat.org or email mcat@mcat.org. For MCAT, I'm Joel Baird. Thanks for watching.